And how did the name come about? City Cave, obviously the concept's quite caveman, and it is quite old school, isn't it, in terms of deprivation tanks, is it they call them as well?
Yeah, sensory deprivation tanks.
Yeah, great. So how does City Cave come about?
So if you think about, there's two major elements in the name, obviously. One's the city, one's the cave. And if you to break those two things apart, the city for us is the fast-paced life that we live. It's the technology, it's the overstimulation, it's the busyness of life is the city that we've built. The cave used to be something primitively that we would go to seek respite or refuge and get away and restore and repair and get away from danger and those kinds of things. So that's kind of the meaning behind the brand, was to try and fuse those two things together.
And so you said you've got multiple franchises, and I think you said you've got 12 in total now throughout Australia?
Yeah, Southeast Queensland mostly and New South Wales.
Yes, okay. And at what point did you say, okay, this first one's doing well, we see potential here, was the second store a franchise, or did you open that one yourself?
That was one we opened ourselves. And typically when I say we made all the mistakes in the world, this was another mistake that we made. So we started our first franchise, we just had float tanks. No, sorry, not our first franchise. We started our first location, just had float tanks. And then what we found is that, people were coming in with all these different kinds of ailments and leaving with different kinds of results. And it was fascinating to us. I remember this story we tell all the time of this one girl that walked out, and Tim and I are sitting there, their co-founder, behind the desk, because we worked every single hour in the business. And she was walking up the hallway and she was crying. And me and Tim were like, oh God, what have we done? Because, the amount of times that we've left the filter on or turned the music off or played the wrong music through someone's speakers has been unbelievable. So she's walking out crying, and we're sitting here going, okay, here we go, another one that we've stuffed up. And she walked down the end of the hallway and she looked at us with tears in her eyes and hugged us. And literally, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. And she's like, this is the best I've felt since going through chemotherapy.
No way.
And seeing someone go from and have that much emotion around how much pain she's been into, how good she feels right now, and we were able to facilitate that. That was like an unbelievable circle of gratitude that we never thought we were going to get out of this. So, it started about a business idea and a concept in the future, and we're going to do this, but then became about people in the centre that, we're gaining and getting benefits from what we were providing. So when we went to our second centre, it's like, okay, well, let's do everything. So we went and we had 4 float tanks, we had an infrared yoga space, we had infrared saunas, we had massage, we had psychology, nutrition, dietitians, we had everything. It's 400 square metres, it was like 2.5 times the size. In this big, beautiful place in Paddington. We put all of our chips in there, and it was a major stuff up.
Yeah, okay.
It was what we ended up finding is that we went too large and it was hard to manage, and we hired all these staff to look after all of these other people, and we were just so top heavy that it was nearly impossible to function and run and absorb the costs and the magnitude of the business that we created, because we just had no idea. So we were in a sink or swim environment, and we're great swimmers. We just swam as hard as we could swim, and we thought, the amount of management that goes into this, plus the limited services that this one offers, there's got to be somewhere in the middle that makes a lot of sense. So we created and conceptualized a business model around 3 float tanks, 2 infrared saunas, and 2 massage rooms and a prac room.
Okay.
And we put all of the numbers on a board and created a business calculator, an engine that sort of like showed us a few different capacities that it could do. And through a bit of a Rain Man experience, we were like, I think this is franchisable. This is 100% franchisable. It's easy to manage. You don't have to run into all the problems that we ran into with float therapy, because we now manufacture and own and operate our own pools. And it's low overheads and low costs. So it was that was where the idea sort of spawned for the franchise, and it was based on not making sure that because when we came into it, we came in naive, and like most people do when they go into business, you're a little bit naive and starry-eyed. But so we wanted to just try and help people get into this and get what we got when we got to hug that lady at the end of her session.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We want to give that to other people,
yeah,
but with the stability and the support of a franchise network that can really help and facilitate their business growth as well. Because you've got to have both.
Yep.
You've got to have the passion, but you also got to know about your business.